Mario Tennis Aces combines the regular old game of tennis with this modern energy gauge system to create a super fresh feeling version of the age-old game. The core gameplay here is super fun and super addicting, but a lot of players since the game launched have been complaining about some major balance issues with that core gameplay. Now, as we're nearing a month into the game's life cycle, we're about to get our first big balance patch, and from the looks of it so far, it looks like this first patch could remedy a lot of those issues that we all have with the current meta. So update 1.1.2 was just announced this morning, and although we won't be actually seeing it until Friday, they already released the full patch notes on the official Nintendo website. There aren't going to be any big new features here per se, but they are trying to remedy those big issues I was talking about that a lot of players have been complaining about since the game's release. One of the biggest problems that I and most other people have with this game is that the online leaderboard is dominated by Bowser Jr.'s, and it's simply because he's overpowered. He has a range that's unmatched by any other character on the roster, and he can hit the ball at incredible angles when he's not even trying to do so. It looks like they're trying to remedy this issue though in two different ways. The first being a decrease in movement speed while he's charging. This was the one thing that set Bowser Jr. apart from Waluigi for me, because not only did he have incredible range from just the general width of his arms, but he could also pretty much move around regularly while charging at the same time. So it sounds like this could help nerf his mobility quite a bit. They're also going to nerf his turning angle, and while the translation from Japanese to English isn't exact, I'm fairly sure that this means he won't be able to hit the ball from those ridiculous angles without actually positioning himself to do so like you've got to do with the rest of the characters. I think that Bowser Jr.'s general width and coverage is still going to be slightly overpowered, but I think this is a good first step to try to make him equal to the rest of the roster without just completely nerfing him into the ground. The second big fundamental change that they're making here is actually a combination of a bunch of little changes that they're making to trick shots. If you've seen my tips and tricks video or just played with some experienced players online, you may have noticed this technique where a lot of players will just get super close to the net and spam backwards trick shots to gain a full energy meter in just a matter of seconds. This technique will be much less viable when this patch hits, as they're pretty much nerfing all forms of trick shots in every way possible. The range of both backwards and horizontal trick shots will be decreased, meaning you won't be able to make those saves from across the court, and they also decrease the general cone width of these shots, which just means you'll have to be a whole lot more precise to successfully land those trick shots. They also included that doing a late trick shot will drain a lot more of your energy, which is going to punish you more for screwing up too much, and they also mentioned that the general timing of when you perform the trick shot or when you perform the input will be much more strict, which hopefully means you won't be able to just spam backwards on the right stick over and over to do them in succession. Even if you're still able to use this technique though, they're also nerfing the amount of energy that you gain from a successful backwards trick shot. So even if you're still able to perform this technique, you're not going to be able to fill your energy gauge with just 3 or 4 of these backward trick shots anymore. All of these trick shot changes sound great to me, and I really think they're going to make the game a lot more even of a playing field. So beyond the changes that we're getting in this upcoming patch, they also made sure to include in the notes that by the time the August tournament rolls around, they're going to be making some more changes to make the entire character roster more balanced. That's only 2 weeks away, so I'm not really sure what they could develop in this 2 weeks time that they can't put out this Friday, but I don't know, I'm not going to complain. I think we can all agree that the roster is pretty unbalanced right now, so it's good that they're at least trying to fix it. Also, what they included towards the end of the patch notes is just an explanation of how this new rating system will carry over between each month's tournament. So basically, if you're under 2,000 rating right now, you're going to be reset to 2,000 at the beginning of the next month's tournament. Then if you have a rating in between 2,000 and 2,500, it's actually going to stay the same for the following month, which is kind of cool. And then if you have a rating over 2,500, your rating for the next tournament is going to be determined by 10% of the difference between 2,500 and your final rating, and then added to 2,500. I know this sounds kind of complicated, but for example, if I had a 3,500 rating at the end of July, that would be a difference of 1,000 rating points. So 10% of 1,000 is 100, so they'd add 100 points to that base 2,500, and I would start out at 2,600 rating at the beginning of the August tournament. I know that sounds super complicated, but the game calculates it for you, so you don't have to worry about it too much, but I just thought it was cool that they let us know how these ratings are going to be handled. They also included that starting in August, we will be able to sort the leaderboards by rating instead of just by those accumulative points, so I guess that's pretty cool too. I really enjoyed Mario Tennis Aces when it was first released, but to be honest, I've been sort of turned off of the online tournament as of late because of a lot of these major issues that I talked about in this video. So if these changes sound as good as they do on paper, I think it really could spark my interest back up and make me ready to compete again. Let me know your thoughts on the meta down in the comments, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed, and subscribe to my channel for the latest Switch content available. This has been Max from Max Culture, and thank you so much for watching.